And with that, we are live, and I apologize for the Dostoevsky kind of lighting behind me. Let's see if I can try and change it a little bit. No, I'm not in some sort of interrogation cell. I'm actually in Chicago today, and I'm here to watch the great American pastime of baseball with my son, and we're about 3 or 4 blocks away from Wrigley Field. And I apologize for the lighting, but it's what I've got. I'm in this like sub apartment. Well, it's like a basement apartment, and it's kind of set up for people to come here and watch whoever's playing the Cubs, right? So that's what I'm doing, and that's where I am, and I'll be here today, and then tomorrow I'm leaving early. So just to give you a sense of the schedule, we'll be doing the weather today. No 15 minutes, um, because well, there's a big city out there, and then tomorrow I will be traveling. So after today's look at the weather, we'll be reconvening on Thursday. So yeah, Thursday. Interesting experience at the airport in Austin, um, getting onto the plane. They have this new system where you walk. Well, of course, it's the rat in the maze, and then the cheese is you're being able to get through the other side. So they have the rat in the maze part, but then when you get up to a certain point, you wind up going 2 by 2, and it's really bizarre. It's almost, and they're barking out orders, and there are dogs, and it feels even more dystopian than it's ever uh, felt before. It feels incredibly dystopian, like they're entraining people to respond in a certain way at a certain place at a certain time, if you know what I mean. All right, let's see who do we have here. Kabuki Theater at 1:08 a.m. just after I booked this show. Bo, you are number one. Bo's emphatic. Like this is so good. Number one. Michael with the night owl at 1:10 a.m. You know what it feels like? It feels like you guys are checking in for the flight at Southwest, like I was this morning. That is funny shit. How did the eclipse go for everyone? It was great. I had a really good dinner here last night in Chicago. So I get to hang out with my Pisces son, so that worked out all right. Sue Leonard flooded my laundry, very Piscean. Ooh, that is down under, literally down under. Eclipses tonight. Yeah, we're sort of in that zone, right? We're in that zone. Yeah. Let's see. Queen Lisa with full moon is a doozy. You know, I told my son we're gonna watch a no hitter tonight, and hopefully it'll be on the A's side. That would be cool on the eclipse. Green Eyed Crow, what's happening? Veronica's Barn, that dark sunrise looks more like a set to me. Beautiful image. What? Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what that is? Yeah, I forgot for the thumbnail. There's a thing here in Chicago. It's called Chicagohenge, and it happens, I believe, right around the fall equinox, the autumnal equinox, and it's where the sun rises between these like two buildings. I don't know. I think they made it up, but it's called Chicagohenge, and that's what the thumbnail is from. it's a yeah, it's a pretty cool image, right? So that gives you clues to where I am. Chicago's an interesting place. It's rusted. There's a lot of rust here in this city, but it has a lot of heart. You can tell it has a lot of heart. People here are cool. There she is, the lovely and talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. Dr. Joan S. Glemma Spank, Moira, greetings into interstellar cosmic conversations with Patricia. It's a rainy day in North Carolina, and I just couldn't be feeling finer. Moonsprout, buenos. There he is, Tom Jordan, holding down the back 40. Laura E, great show Sunday night. You know, Laura, I didn't know how that was going to be taken, and I was over on Twitter, and if some of you follow me on Twitter, really what my condensed version of Sunday night show is that we're being held hostage by history, and that if you add in these eclipses that are coming in Virgo and Pisces, there's a refinement process that's going on, and a purification process, and it feels like the bones of history are going to wash up on the shore of our consciousness, and that's really what it was about. And it is, maybe, I don't know. I was wondering how it hit people on Sunday night, because I can see that, these social engineers, these social architects, and what they do is they wind up doing their own version of it, because they know these things are coming, right? They know they're coming. And so what they do is they socially engineer their own version of the astrological unfoldment that's about to occur. Turn the page, turn the page, turn the page, be unburdened by the past, right? Like, they are controlling the narrative around this, and they should not control the narrative around this. The narrative is the narrative. It is what it is, as they say. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had some qualms as to whether or not people were. Look, I could have gone a couple levels deeper, but I needed to keep the show in a place that was digestible. Let's put it that way. Queen Lisa, suicidal friend, been living here for a couple months. Oh, that's fun. That's yeah. Suicidal friends. There should be a network for suicidal people, and they can just come live with people that are not suicidal. It would be an interesting experiment. She wanted her gun back. No, it's not good to give a suicidal person the gun. But then again, maybe they're just a really miserable, awful person. In which case, you can give them the gun, but maybe you don't give them the gun with the ammo back. So what did you do? When I tried to fly her home, she called the cops on me and told them that I was her landlord kicking her out for no reason. She tried to pull a squatter on me. Oh my God. This person needs to go. This is what's happening. People are, they're losing their marbles. The pressure is getting turned up to a point where it's almost unbearable. And I really feel for like highly sensitive people. I do. Veronica's barn is here. Moonsprout. Let's see. Who else do we have? Yeah, hell of a ride for us. No surprise. I have a lot of friends. Good. Well, you're an Aries. You're a mega Aries, right? Conflict be thy name. Peachy's not upset. The only reason Peachy's upset is because I'm not there. That's the only reason. Nor is she the queen of speed. She's Brandy Herrera. Havana Blast. Road Trip 1981. Hey, what's going on, darling? Kelly B. Atlantis Rise. Love your Sunday show. You gave voice to the thoughts out of my head for years. Stop internalizing the bullshit, gaslighting. The game will be over. That's right. That is right. We have been held hostage too long Too long. Enough. Enough. It's the sword of the historical sword of Damocles is always being held over our head and used for it's like a political football and the gaslighting. I'm glad you got it. Here's my man Ryan. What's going on, Ryan? Look at that. Joan's getting let's see, Veronica's getting bilateral TMJ replacement and condylar surgery needed. So she's in there with a professional with Joan. Nunya Beeswax, 512 checking in. What's up, Nunya? Yes, I'll be on locals hopefully today if I have some time. The law. I fought the law, but the law won. Hi, Lisa Ann White. Next week, I'm having my retracted eyelid repaired. Man, you are going in for a full workover. I love it. Carly, what's happening? Happy Tuesday back at you. Yes, Tom, thank you. Please subscribe, hit the like. We're still at the same number of subscribers I've been at for like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Who knows? It's a shit show. See your good day, Nephilim Wranglers. This is truly the age of heroes. Amen. Let's see. Sweet Woodruff and Leanne Ott in the house. Both of you. Texas representing. PB. Maria d'Ange. Holy Hellation, Batman. I know, I'm sorry. It's the only light I have in this room. It's weird. Really, it's the only. There's another light back there, but it's not very luminescent. Shining down from hell. Either that or it's either that or the interrogation from hell. One of the two, Brandy. Hey, Kip. Good to see you. Welcome. Grace Gravity. Glad you're here. Wrigley Field is great. I can't wait, Michael. The outside experience has been like off the hook already. Like Cub culture is like crazy. Never experienced it before. This is kind of a wow. Let's see. Who else we have? Warlanda. Rainbows and butterflies. Amy Gill. Peter Byone. Hey people, it's Tuesday in Dystopia. Let's make it a good. I swear to God, man, the airport experience felt so fucking dystopic. You get to the end. You get to the end of the cheese. Well, you're almost at the end of the cheese, right? You're almost at the end of the line, the end of the maze for the cheese. When you're standing one by one, right? Put your feet. They've got the little painted footprints where you're supposed to put your fucking feet, right? Put your feet in the footprints. That's right. And I want you to both go together at the same time. And you're walking down, and they've got the dog doing the sniff thing. Meanwhile, they're barking out orders. I mean, it feels like a fucking FEMA camp dress rehearsal. That's what it felt like. SL Sully, what's happening? Our proles already well entrained, started in supermarkets. It's true, right? The best and the worst is IKEA. Man, IKEA it's like a fucking psychological grid. And they're just taking you through like everything you need to, there's a madness to IKEA. And then they drop you finally at the end where it's like, oh, look at these Swedish meatballs and the lingonberry soda. Sounds so good. Persepolis 22 from Berlin. Hey, we got a shout out from Berlin today. Awesome. Barbara Boots is here. They're made for one. Platinum Happiness from Idaho. Hey, we got a Fran Santelli sighting. How about that? Hi, Fran. Good to see you. Whitney Palm, have a great time at the game with your son. I hope so. The A's got their asses kicked last night. And this is honest. This is the honest to God truth. Since my son and I have been attending sporting events for the Northern California teams, that would be the A's, the Warriors, and we saw the Oakland Raiders a couple of years ago in Dallas. They've never lost. They have never lost. Never. Well, let me rephrase this. Going back to 2012. So 2012 to 2014, and we've been to quite a few games. The Bay Area teams have not lost. So we have we have a certain mojo that we bring. And I'm saying tonight we're going to watch a no-hitter. We're going to watch a no-hitter on the eclipse. Let's see. Persepolis. Will they pull another 2020 event anytime soon? Or be more like 10 years? I don't know if they can run that back out as quickly. I think they'll probably do it again at some point. But I think the monkeypox fell flat, and anything else they try to do will probably fall flat. But yeah, I would say longer. Who was it? It was the psychic. What was her name? She used to be on TV. She actually predicted the COVID thing. She said it would come back one more time. Anyway, it'll come to me. Maya Rose is here. Hi, Maya. The full moon is incredibly bright, lit up the dark woods. Oh, that sounds like I don't know, very, very Victorian. Oh no, maybe Victorian, romantic. Cassandra Lynn, Kanya Curtis, something going on with the Leo cat theme here from the Childless Cat Ladies, Taylor Swift's. I know. I was thinking. You know what's funny, Kanya? I was thinking about that. Like, what is happening with all of the Leo stuff, and not just the Childless Cat Ladies, but what these cat memes and the kiffness. Like, what is happening? We're gonna have to. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to look up Lyra and see where what is transiting through Lyra right now, and I'm gonna do that. I won't do it right now, but I will do that. But we're on the same wavelength. I was thinking about the same thing. Let's see. Cars rust out in 5 years. I know, right? Everything is rusted here. It's kind of weird, cool. It feels like there's been a lot of living going on in this place, right? Feels very lived in. Let's see. Jay Scheffler, what's going on, Jay? Good to see you. Jen Adams from Brooklyn. Woo! Enjoy. Hey, the weather in Chicago last night was like so good. So it was so good. Let's see. Great message you were channeling. You know, it's like, yeah, I just felt, I don't know. It all started the night before. It all started the night before when I was just looking at people in the restaurant. I'm like, who would we be without a historical record? Like, who would we be? How did we treat each other? Both personally and collectively. Anyway, it was a good exercise, and I'm glad you guys got something out of it, because I didn't know. I was like, man, I'm going out on a wing and a prayer here, but it worked. All right, let's get into the weather. So funny. I'm like, I don't have any place to be this morning, so I can just talk to you all morning. William Powell's welcome. I thank you. They hijacked the astrology like everything else. Peter, spot on. Spot on. Have I been to the bean yet? What is the bean? I need to know what the bean is, Aaron. Give me some local Chicago stuff. Thank you, William. People here are really nice. Really, really nice. Okay, we got to send a prayer out to our girl, Bree. Okay, so I've talked about Bree before. Bree has created some of the graphics, and she's done the intro for Serious Sports, and she's done the intro for Astro Dads. And Bree is she's going to have a craniotomy on the 28th of September, and I don't really want. I mean, I'm gonna go public with this because now it's happening. But Bree has an aneurysm, and this is a very serious condition where they have to actually go into the cranium and clip the aneurysm, and the gravity of this operation is quite profound, in that there's a chance where it works and she's fine and she recovers. There's a chance where it may not work and she may not live through it. There's a chance that it works, but she doesn't remember who she is. I mean, there are so many variables with this, and we've looked it up. And I know she's scared. Who wouldn't be scared? So anyway, let's just send out some good vibes and love and a prayer to our friend Bree, who has children and was recently married. I mean, let's just stack the deck here, right? Let's just put as many odds on her condition and operation as possible, right? It's this big deal. Anyway, I know she watches the show, and we love you, and we all hope and pray that everything turns out fine, and that you're on the other side, and you have a bright future together with your family, and that you'll be making more videos and graphics for us. So anyway, just send out some love for Bree. And thank you, Claire, for actually bringing that up. You should let that idea gestate and do a deeper look at it. Oh, yeah. I'd love to do a deeper dive on Sunday's show. Well, look, if you wanted to go deeper, your boy would probably have that show deleted. I'm just saying. Candace and Neil Oliver, good deal. SL Sully, I'm pain in bed for 3 days. Wow. SP Dimple's in the house. Europa calling. Last night, listened to a Charlie Kirk interview with Tucker Carlson. He expressed surprise at the reaction of people to his interview with the historian. People are, how do I say this? I don't know. I don't quite understand this, because I've always been that way, and I believe a lot of you have always been this way as well. I've always been willing to look at things from, I don't know, the underbelly or from another perspective. And so when I heard the historian, which by the way is kind of vanilla on Tucker, it was like, well, okay, I get it, right? But for some people, this material is like borderline heresy, right? I mean, there are just these institutional tropes that are completely off limits. And to me, it's mind-boggling, because I don't know anything different. I mean, to me, it's just been like, I don't know, riding a bike or something. I remember when I might have been about 18 or 19 years old, maybe about 19. And it was when C-SPAN was coming on. And I remember hearing these stories about these rockets coming over, these rockets or missiles or whatever they were, coming over from Gaza into Israel. Of course, it would facilitate a reaction and a very intense military response. And, at the age of 19, I thought to myself, I wonder if those guys on the other side are actually launching those rockets, or if they're having somebody else launch those rockets, right? Like, it just, the thought in my mind automatically went to manipulation. Like, I don't know why. Like, I was just wired that way. I'm like, I just thought, this is bullshit. Why does this keep happening? Because they're only setting themselves up for greater pain by doing this. Anyway, it just feels to me, getting back to that comment, that a lot of people have a hard time with these historical tropes. And when they're questioned, my God, it's like you're questioning the validity of Jesus and Mary and everything that's gone along with it for the past 2,000 years. Hi, Kelly. Most of the hostages have Stockholm syndrome. That's what it's about, right? It's completely what it's about. Totally. Okay. He suggested that people have a visceral reaction to the disruption of myths and define the reality. So that's a historical narrative. And that's what I was talking about on Sunday night, right? That is what I was talking about on Sunday night. And it's like, we're being held hostage by historical narrative. And it's about time that we renegotiated our relationship with that. Can I do a show with Longo soon? Yes, I'd love to be on with Longo. I can bring him on here either way. He's my astrological son. Melissa Stanton's here. Nicole DiPaolo. There's my man, Steve. What's going on, Steve? Suicide in the house. Sandra Jackshaw. It's strange that you mentioned suicide today. I had a local police show up my door last night due to my daughter's online friend call. 9/11 due to a comment my daughter made was taken out of context. So that's weird. That is really weird. Laurel Jubin. Oh, he thought it was women. Thank you, Laurel. Appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't know. O'Hare is mind blowing. O'Hare is a trip, man. It is a trip, total trip. Bills versus Saints Super Bowl. You would love that, Charlie. Like they didn't check your butt for contraband. I mean, it was like that close, right? Jeez. Scrubbies, name checking. What's going on, Scrubbies? Good to see you. IKEA, ABBA, Greta Bergman. I reject all bleak, sweet nonsense. Let's hear it. Man, I'm going to throw that up there. You know, I got to say, I was a single. I was a stay-at-home dad, and as a stay-at-home dad, and you have a kid, right? And you're trying to do things, and there's a lot of things you can do, but I got to tell you, IKEA is like a fucking. It's kind of like an amusement park, because eventually they'll run into some kid shit at IKEA, right? But having them, you know, like we're talking about 2 years old, right? 2.5, 3. Like IKEA, you can burn about an hour and a half in IKEA just looking around, walking around, and eventually, of course, the Swedish meatballs. And the kiddies love the Swedish meatballs, and I think they have, like, I don't know, macaroni and cheese or something. All right, let's get into the weather. All right, where are we? ABBA. I don't, you know, I'm one of these people. Please don't hate me. I don't like ABBA. Please don't hate me. I love that song, SOS, and I love Waterloo. I love those songs. They could have just kept doing those songs. I would have been very happy. But by and large, I'm not the biggest ABBA fan. Okay. I'm gonna have to redo this. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Here we go. I don't know why this is not happening. You know, I can see why people like Chicago. I totally get it. I totally get it. It's this interesting vibe of being like a big city, and but with like kind of a interesting Midwest neighborhood feel to it. Like, I totally get it. And you know, it's the heart chakra of the United States. And I think we did a show one time where if we just healed Chicago, the rest of the country would follow. I think we covered that one night, didn't we? With the Chicago World's Fair, and I mean we did a pretty deep dive on Chicago one night, astrologically. Okay, let's get into the weather. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but last week. All right, here I'm going to bring this up since I'm not running off to the 15-minute stage. We can just talk a little bit about this because I don't know if we really talked about this a lot. But last week we talked about Switzerland, and I brought up the chart, and of course Switzerland is created on an eclipse, and I talked about how there's like the front-facing Switzerland that everybody sees, like this version of Switzerland, and then I talked about like what's behind the wall. And a lot of you had some very interesting comments about having that kind of experience there, where you felt like everything was a postcard, but then it also felt like there was something else going on there that it didn't match the picture, right? So I think it might have been the next day, Miss Switzerland was murdered, right? She was murdered. And not only was she murdered, but it was like grisly. Her boyfriend, like, get ready to do this. Nah, 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 if you don't want to hear it, like, nah, 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 nah. For those of you who are hardened and get into the logistics of blending your girlfriend, right? But it's Miss Switzerland, and it was like the day after we talked about this, and it's kind of like right in that eclipse corridor, and there are people. I put it up on Twitter. People, that's a sacrifice. I mean, to me, it feels like a sacrifice, complete sacrifice. Now, do people sit around and go, okay, well, we're going to sacrifice Miss Switzerland and you're going to go do it. And here's the time frame for it. Or are these forces so elemental, right? Are they so locked in to the cosmic clock that just by the sheer force of some kind of synchronistic gravity that this thing would occur? Like, it's freaking mind-blowing that it happened. So I would keep your eyes on Switzerland. This is a country to keep your eye on because of, number one, the eclipse is happening literally almost bang on their eclipse moon. And what else? What else can we say about it? And then we had this event, right? This very strange event. Keep your eye on Switzerland. And we'll see what else comes out of that part of the world. Of course, that's where Davos is and all the weirdos that live on the hill. They hang on the hill. All right, so this is today. Here we go. Let's make sure we have everything right. Okay, here's our weather for today. Yeah, there's that moon. It's a little bit more advanced in terms of degrees. Switzerland's moon is at 9 Pisces. This one is at 17 Pisces. The energy today is hard. Well, okay, let me reframe this. It has the potential to be very difficult, but it also has the ability, the energy today is the ability to course correct really quickly, really, really quickly. In order to do that, you're going to have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to have to be able to be efficient and move beyond, how do I say this without sounding cold-hearted? You're going to have to move beyond pain and suffering today. I mean, today's one of those days where you can just get caught in the thorn bushes of pain and suffering. Like, today's one of those days, critical mass, pain and suffering day. But if you take a pragmatic approach, right, you take that pragmatic Virgoan approach, and we've got the sun, transiting sun at 25, coming in and hitting that Uranus trine at 27 and Pluto at 29. I don't think you need to lecture people about being over maudlin and being hung up on their suffering. That would be, I think, a mistake. But I think the phrase for today is "this too shall pass." That is the phrase, "this too shall pass." And by just remember that this too shall pass, and not in a cold-hearted way, right? Not in an officious sort of way, but in a way like, okay, I understand this too shall pass, even for yourself, and not necessarily just completely for other people. Today is a tricky day. It is, and this eclipse moon, where you've got moon, Saturn, and then the moon is moving towards Neptune tonight and tomorrow, and it just feels fraught with illusion. Oh my God, like we are in the depths of illusion, and the depths of people just absolutely, like, the lies and the illusion and the Maya that's being spewed is thick. Like, if you've ever been on the California coast, when the fog is rolling in. Man, it is thick, and that's what it's like, right? So this is what we have ahead of us. And the sun and Pluto and Uranus are your high beams. Your high beams are on. And you're not supposed to use them in the fog. I know. These are your high beam fog lamps that only NASA has. By the way, I had an interesting conversation with a guy who works for Boeing, and he does space engineering. Boeing has a space program, and I talked to him about Boeing's space program. He sat kind of next to me on the plane, and I asked him, "What do you think of the people who believe the Earth is flat, and that we're living in a snow globe?" And it's kind of like asking a Catholic, "Hey, what do you think of this idea that Mary actually had sex with somebody and it wasn't an immaculate conception?" I mean, it's bordering on it. I didn't ask him that because I wanted to be heretical. I just wanted to know what he thought of it. Anyway, yes, I don't know. I'm not even sure why I'm talking about this. But oh yeah, course correcting. Today's a day of course correction, and the illusion, man, it is thick, right? Oh, I was thinking of like some super secret space program fog lamps you can have for your car that only the black budget military have. They're the only ones that have these super secret space fog lamps, right? Anyway, yeah, it's kind of what today is, and it's not like today's the pragmatic part. Like tonight and tomorrow, it's people. I mean, what's interesting? Okay, so we had the friend who was going through the suicide thing, and then we had I guess somebody calling on Sandra's daughter. You know what it feels like? It feels like people are drowning. It feels like people are drowning. This is the imagery. You know, this is the imagery, and drowning in information overload, drowning in and look, let's be honest. We talk politics here, but oh my God, like have we hit like maximum capacity for politics and Kamala? And I mean, just when you think it's like gone to the top, right? And all of a sudden, there's a song that's got 100 million views on eating the cats. Like this is the insanity of the world. And just when you think it's gone to the top, it goes to another level. My God, turn the page, turn the page, turn the page. And she was going this way, right? This way. Anyway, that's Jupiter, Gemini. It's like, oh, you thought that was normal? Oh, you haven't seen anything yet, right? And Jupiter has been in square with, well, today it's in square with the moon, so everything is going to be intensified, right? And you will get people who will also like weirdly shift positions. Today is a weirdly shifting position day, and you'll have an interaction with somebody this morning, and you'll be on the same page, and then later on in the day, it's like they'll have a different position. It's like, what? Like we were on the same page this morning. And they'll say, I know. I thought about it, and I changed my mind. No, you didn't really change your mind. You changed your emotions. Other people changed your mind, right? So today's like this is kooky shit. This is kooky shit. And then the Moon Saturn conjunction. Oh my God, that's just fraught with guilt. There's a lot of guilt in the air today as well. A lot of guilt, a lot of heavy tripping. I'm glad I'm not flying today. At least tomorrow will be slightly after the eclipse. Let's talk about Chiron coming in and having today. It's the final day. It's the final day of the in conjunct with Chiron. Come on down and get the in conjunct with Chiron benefits. it's only lasting another 24 hours, and you don't want to miss out on that morning fear that you have in the back of your brain that you'll be exposed, and stand out for the things that you believe in, the things that you're critical of. I mean, that's what it is, right? That's the inconjunct. We're almost through that. We're almost there. We're almost on the other side of it. And I realized that on Sunday night, I was in the zone of the inconjunct with this Chiron sun. And it was, I don't know, it just felt like, oh my God, where am I going with this? Are people getting it? Am I getting too far out there? Do they understand this? And that's what it was like. And we're kind of in the aftermath of that energy, like we're the final degrees of it. So, but again, this grand trine, Sun, Uranus, Pluto, it's built for speed. Like if you can just navigate. So the key is to understand that people are in pain, understand that there is a lot of confusion, understand that there is a lot of judgment around pain and confusion. So it's not just the states of pain and confusion, but it's also this kind of judgmental, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like church lady attitude, right? It's like, that's what it feels like. Like, oh, well, you don't really, what? You're not really suffering? You're not really feeling that? Come on, you need to revisit your suffering, right? There's almost this like this inherent sense that like you have to feel this way. You have to feel this way. And if you don't feel this way, there's something wrong with you, right? There's this admonition that you should be, I don't know, more Christian. That's not even the word, really. This is a pretty wild day, I gotta say. It is a wild, but just do your best, like, to stay open, be empathic, like, get it, right? But don't waste a lot of time. Don't get stuck in the weeds. Today is a day not to get stuck in the weeds. And then I really feel like if you can just follow the path of this grand trine with a little bit of a kite pattern there, although the kite's going to be all the outer planets, we're going to really focus on the sun in Virgo. You can essentially, and I'm not using this as a term to like prop up your ego, but you can be the leader of the pack today. You can be the lead. Okay, well, you know what we're going to call this? We're going to call this a pace setter. Right? This is a pace setter day. You can set the pace, right? Just play with this as a concept. You are setting the pace today. Everybody else is kind of in this, penumbral fog. You set the pace. You're the pace car, right? You're setting the pace. And I think that is the key. And as long as you can keep up with that and set the pace and check in and go, oh yeah, boy, that's terrible. I know. I hope they get better. Yeah. Boy, I know. Yeah. Please don't share with me the Caribbean cat stew recipe. I'm good. Thank you. Let's go. We've got some things to do. We'll talk about that later over Chianti and some fava beans. So this is the day, right? Just stay on point. Stay on point. Move. We have a nice Venus. See, Venus and Jupiter are in this nice trine. So you can do all this while being polite, right? Like you don't have to be an asshole. Although we do have this Venus-Pluto square coming in. Now we'll talk more about that tomorrow as Venus gets closer to that Pluto square. That's intense, right? So all of these things are happening under this penumbral lunar eclipse, right? So when you look at people who talk about the eclipse, right, they're talking about not just the eclipse, but everything else that's going on here. So this Venus-Pluto square is quite powerful, right? And Venus-Pluto squares can define relationships very intensely, so intensely that they, are the definition of till death do you part, right? With that Venus-Pluto square. Anyway, this is the day. The Venus-Jupiter trine. I got a little sidetracked there. That's the kind of the saving grace along with this grand trine here, with the Sun in Virgo leading the pack. because you can be kind, right? You can be diplomatic. You can have all of those things with Libra, and the triumph of Jupiter expands it. So you don't have to be like gruff or a dick, unless you want to be. But that's a different story. Um, what else do we have? Let's just talk a bit about Mars, because Mars is definitely in play, at least with Saturn. So we have a Mars Saturn square, or trine rather. And, we could talk about this in terms of things like prepping in the home, and making sure you got all the things that you need, which I think is probably a good thing to do as we come into fall, winter. And this winter, I think, could be, whoa. If you ever listened to Art Bell a long time ago, he would have this guy named Ed Dames on, who I actually interviewed Ed Dames once. And this is way back when I was like writing journalism for money, or writing stories for money, doing interviews for money. Anyway, Ed Dames talked about this event. It wasn't really an event. It was a thing that they would remote view, but they couldn't see past it. That's what the election feels like. I mean, I can see past it deeper into the year, but the days and the weeks and the months after the election feels like that remote viewing moment when you just can't really see anything. Like, I mean, I can speculate into it, and I think a lot of you can as well. I mean, you do your own prognostications, I'm sure, right? But it just feels like that's what Ed Dames was talking about. Like we've reached this event horizon, and it's about as extreme of an event. Well, maybe I'm speaking too soon, right? Maybe we can go a few more levels. Anyway, the Mars Saturn trine, the Mars Moon trine, is good, especially today, because again, we don't know what it's going to be like during the winter. Where are we going to be with heating oil and gas? And we're flirting ever so closely with Russia, right, in this ongoing proxy war, which could go super kinetic at any time. So I think you want to make sure that you have what you need. Can't if you're canning fruits or vegetables, it's probably the time to do it. Curing meats, probably the time to do it. And today specifically, it's one of those days. Sun trine Pluto, trine Uranus, get a lot done. All right, let's talk. Let's talk about our star of the day. Okay. Before we do that, though, we got to go into the banner. What's going on with my audio? Is my audio okay? I hope it's okay. It's weird sometimes. All right, let's run the banner. Let's run the Bruce banner. There we go. All right. Our True Hemp Science star of the day is none other than Shaun King, aka Talcum X. So True Hemp Science is the only sponsor besides RobertPhoenix.com and the Almighty, who is the ultimate sponsor of the show. Anyway, if you go to TrueHempScience.com and you spend $100 more, type in that 15 MINS, you'll get a goodie bag with some much needed hemp reinforcements. And if you spend $150 or more, you will get free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. So 15 MINS gets you the goodie bag, and you're helping a Main Street business stay in business, employ people all through the product chain, from the growing of the hemp to the processing of it, all the way through the shipping and the storefront, you name it. It is really the commercial chain of life, the web of life. All right, let's talk about Shaun King. So there's a bunch of nicknames for Shaun King. This is Shaun King from when he was young. Like, this is who he was, and he grew up to be a black activist. And the names I'm about to share with you came from a guy who was a Twitter page who happens to be really black. So these are Shaun King's other nicknames. Thurgood Partial. I'm sorry, this is hilarious shit. W.E.B. DuBlanc. Martin Luther Cream. I'm sorry. Hewless P. Newton. This is from this dude's page, man. This is from this dude's Twitter page. And he's like 20 shades darker than Shaun King. I'm sorry. Roderick Douglass. Mayo Angelou. And of course, Stevia Wonder. Malcolm X is the one that is stuck. This dude, I'm sorry, he's not black. He's not black. And you can see it in his chart. He's got that Sun, Mercury conjunction in Virgo. What's it doing, though? It's squaring Neptune. Saturn, Sun, Mercury, all squaring Neptune. Shaun King is a liar. I'm sorry. He's fronting. He's fronting. He's a 12th house guy, which is interesting because he's kind of iconic, right? I mean, how many people get those many nicknames named after them? Like, that's some big 12th house shit right there. And he's a hustler. Like, he's all about, fairness and social justice, Libra rising, Pluto in the first house. Boy, I'm gonna transform my identity. I'm gonna transform my identity. I'm gonna go from Jeffrey Shaun King right here to this guy who has been at the forefront of the how do we say this? The fight for social justice. Pluto is going to literally transform his identity in the first house. That's what he's going to do. And he's got a Pluto Mars square, so he will defend his identity to the death. Oh, he will, all the way to the death. And he's got Mars in the 10th house, and it feels to me like that's also where a lot of his social activism comes from. Shaun King's done quite well for himself. There are a lot of people on that side of the fence or in that world who have done, like Ibrahim X. Kendi. That guy's got deep fucking pockets. And I've seen Shaun King's house. He's got a nice fucking house, right? He's done quite well. Quite well. He has pulled the grift hard, right? Pulled the grift hard. But you know what he's doing? He's living from his south node. I mean, maybe Virgo and Pisces channel guilt like no other sign, but that south node, I mean, feels like that's where he's coming from, right down here, and he can really tap into that south node past life in Pisces, and just hit the victim switch. He's got Uranus in the second house, and that's kind of interesting because that's where all this Virgo is moving into, is in that second house Uranus. So he's going to be radical, and he's going to be a free agent, and he's going to work. He figured out, Shaun King figured something out. And it reminds me of this story of Lenny Bruce. If you've ever read How to Talk Dirty and Influence People, Lenny Bruce talks about how when he was, I think he was living in New York, he found a dry cleaner, and they would take care of the priest's vestments, right? The Catholic Church would send them. Well, one day he stole one of the jacket and the collar. He stole one, right? And then he went door to door, and he started taking donations for a leper colony in the Caribbean, which was, I guess, somewhat true. There was a leper colony, and he kept most of the money, though he did send some on to the leper colony. And he figured out the scam. Like Lenny Bruce figured out the scam, and Shaun King figured out the scam, and he became quite good at it. Right? This is This is something where when you look at a chart, you go, this motherfucker's lying. He's lying about who he is. But at the same time, he's exploiting the lie, and he's doing quite well. And he did do quite well. He's got Venus at 0 in Libra, close to the ascendant. So it's all, that's the thing about Libra. It's all going to be fair. It's all going to be just. It's all going to be fair. It's all going to be just. He's got this Leo moon. And that's kind of interesting because it's in this balsamic phase. And what's it doing? It's squaring Uranus as well. So he's going to be very passionate about his grift. And he's got this Jupiter, even the Jupiter-Uranus square, it is so audacious. I'm going to pull this off, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, what I think is interesting, let's talk about Chiron, because I think Chiron has to be part of this discussion. And I've talked about how people who have Chiron and Taurus have a hard time being in an Earth body for any number of reasons. It can be food allergies. It can be not wanting to be touched, an aversion to, at times, intimacy. It could be not just food allergies, but relationship with diet, health, and food. Anything that just body shape, body type, Chiron and Taurus, not easy to be in the body, right? Not easy. How did I get here? Who am I? What am I doing here? What is this place? That's Chiron and Taurus. So I think what's interesting about Shaun King, he's well, I don't really feel like this little guy, but you know what? I really like hip hop, and I really like this culture, right? And I feel like his response to Chiron is really the thing that is creating this identity change. That's what it feels like to me. Well, I don't feel comfortable as this little tussle-haired white kid from Washington State. I think he's from Tacoma or someplace like that. Where's he born? Frankfort, Kentucky. My bad. Right? He's I don't feel like that guy. But I feel like this guy. That's where he finds his identity, and I think it's very Chiron and Taurus, and very, very eighth house. And he uses that quite well. So he's got that Chiron trine to Saturn. So I think it's an interesting chart because you can see the grift. You can totally see it. He's just fucking lying, but he's been incredibly successful in spite of it all. I don't know what he's doing now, right? But he's been kind of disowned to a large extent by the Black community. When they have all those nicknames for this dude, he really should have met Rachel Dolezal somewhere along the way. Shaun King and Rachel Dolezal should have come together, and they could have created a whole new. I don't know. I can't even go there, right? And even Neptune in the third house, just in terms of the best case scenario for Neptune in the third house is you're psychic. That is a really good Neptune placement for being psychic. Other than that, it can be very confusing. And there are blurry lines with Neptune in the third. And clearly, Shaun King knows how to blur those lines. Anyway, thank you for having a little, and we're not having fun at your expense, Shaun, but we kind of are. And you're a big boy, and you've done quite well. So I'm sure you can shoulder this. No problem. All right. Look at that. We're at the top of the hour. And normally I would just go right into 15 minutes of flame, but I won't be. So I want everybody to have a great day and treat each other well. And again, we're just going to I'm just going to bring Bree's name up one more time. Hold her in your thoughts, your prayers, just for just a second. It doesn't be all day. Just let's just have her get through this operation successfully, and that she's on the other side. And when this aneurysm is handled with utmost care and precision,
and that the hands of God are working through these men to keep this young woman intact and alive for her and her family, and for all people that are in precarious positions. Right? We wish them all the best, and nothing but love. All right, we'll see you back here on Thursday. Thursday's going to be a big day. We got 3 shows happening on Thursday. 3 shows. We're going to have, of course, the Astro Weather on Thursday. 15 minutes on Thursday. And Thursday night, it is the premiere, the seasonal premiere of Serious Sports, in a little bit of a different format this year. On Thursday, I'll be joined by my new buddy, Osiris. And this guy's really sharp, and he knows sports, and he's funny as hell. He's a Sagittarius, so he will not mince any words, man. This guy's cool. And our friend Ferris, who now has a new name, Astrological, so he'll go by Al. Al Dog will maybe have a couple cameos this year, but it's going to be me, Osiris, and AL, Astrological, and we'll keep that third slot open for people that want to jump in and just talk sports one night, astrology. So we'll have maybe a rotating space there. So the return of Serious Sports on Thursday night, and then we'll be doing it on Monday. So we're going to come back on Monday, and Serious Sports will happen on Monday, 5:00 Central. It'll be live, 3 p.m. Pacific, starting on Monday. Serious Sports. We get it done, out of the way. I love the Monday night game on, for those of you who like to watch that. In any case, thank you all for being here. Take good care. Bye for now.